headlines most affecting Chilliwack this week. MLA Maahs is going to step away from the school board. Another toxic spill into Hope Slough. Some new fire trucks now hitting the streets. And the Chiefs asking fans to fill out the All-Star ballot. Alex Eriksson will have more on sports. Our guest this week is local musician Robb Begg and his connection to AC/DC. All right, Chilliwack, let's get started. Similar to 4 years ago, when then School Board Chair Dan Coulter left the Chilliwack School Board to become an MLA, Maahs, the new MLA for Chilliwack North, will follow suit. A by-election for the Chilliwack school trustee position should be announced in the coming weeks. From her media release, for the past 16 years, it has been my honor and privilege to serve Chilliwack as a trustee on the Board of Education. I thank this community for putting your trust in me and giving me a voice at the board table. Over the last couple of years, I realized that the kind of change that was necessary to move the education system forward for the good of all students and their families was not attainable at the board table, so I let my name stand as a candidate in the recent provincial election, quote unquote. In September of this year, thousands of juvenile salmon were killed by a toxic spill in the Hope Slough waterway. Chilliwack and Squaw First Nations have been doing work to restore the waterway within their territory, but it happened again. In a November 29th opinion piece, Chilliwack First Nation sent to media that this is the third toxic spill in the past couple of months. Back in September, a toxic waste discharge in the slough killed thousands of juvenile salmon. That was near a fish habitat restoration project from Chilliwack and Squaw First Nations. And through investigation, staff have discovered a pipe spewing industrial waste into a ditch and then dumping it into the slough. The pipe is a permanent fixture. And again in their statement, Chilliwack once again covering the cost of cleanup, quote, as the Provincial Ministry of Environment has declined to respond. There are 5 new pumper tankers to be delivered between now and the spring of 25 to Chilliwack Fire, and Assistant Fire Chief Chris Wilson telling chillTV that the first 2 are now in the review and training mode as crews are making sure they're ready for use and they know all the intricacies of the new equipment at their disposal. And, quote, thank you to the builder, Max Metal from Quebec, for the photos here. Every year in late November, as the November rain falls, and we thank you Guns N' Roses for that, city crews put up Christmas lights, and they're festive and they're pretty, but you forget that city crews are usually in the dark, cold weather, stringing those lights up. Jamie Leggett with the city of Chilliwack telling chillTV by the time crews are done, and they're almost done, they will have 50 street and laneway trees lit around the city, all the way from the big Christmas tree in Yarrow to the lights at Salish Park. In addition to that, over 210 pole-mounted displays and other decorations, including bows and wreaths, decorating all the streets. Activity plummets, she says. Well, during these times, seeing news reports about wildfire smoke makes me feel anxious. Well, a recent study that Giles has led confirms she's not alone in these feelings. The assistant professor of kinesiology provided a detailed questionnaire to participants assessing physical activity, mental well-being during and after wildfire smoke, and you can Google UFE today to read more and be part of this study. Chilliwack Cultural Center management has been given the green light to install railings in the Rotary Hall Studio Theater in the bleacher seats. This means getting up and down to your seats is a lot safer, and the center is thanking everybody who brought this to their attention and making the suggestion, and hopefully this improvement will, quote, boost your theater experience going forward. And you can comment further on the Cultural Center's website. Operation Red Nose is back. It starts this weekend, taking advantage of a safe, reliable ride service to make sure you get home after those holiday celebrations. With one quick call, a team of friendly volunteers will drive you and your vehicle home. And helping to prevent impaired driving incidents, you can check social media for all the contact information. AC/DC is returning to Vancouver in April. They made their comeback LP, The Razor's Edge, in Vancouver. Well, Chilliwack-born Robb Begg, a musician in his own right, was there during the recording process. We'll have a conversation with Robb about that and his career in just a moment. So, coming up, we will have our interview with Robb, and Chiefs fans are asked to cast their all-star ballot. Alex will have sports in a couple of minutes. This week continues with somebody who started off in Chilliwack, went to Vancouver, went to LA. You're back in the Valley, Robb Begg. Robb, you've been in the music industry about as long as I was in radio, so
long time.
Yeah. Long.
And by the way, this guy's amazing. Don, thank you for having me on your show.
You're welcome. So you're a Chilliwack secondary school student. How did you end up in the music industry?
Well, most people that know me know that real briefly, that even in grade 11 and 12, I was walking around with a guitar around me everywhere I went. Yeah. And I wore black, and I kind of had a vision where I was going to go. I didn't fit in school very well. I couldn't get girls like
Yeah.
Hey, girls,
those of us in the arts, yeah, we know.
So I love music, and so I would sit in my room and I would collect records and I would play in weekend bands and stuff. And for me, it was a good fit. I was good. I was good fitting into that industry, like you are with radio.
Oh, thank you. But you got into the music business as an engineer and such. And one of the reasons we wanted to touch base with Robb was AC/DC announced that they're coming back to Vancouver in 2025. And it came up in conversation that you worked, was it the Razor's Edge?
Yeah, the Razor's Edge.
You worked on that one.
Yeah. Bob Brooks, who my friend Delwyn Brooks, is his father, owned the facility. So we were around there all the time. So we were all just like helping out, and Fraser, I had worked with Fraser. Like Mike Fraser had done my demos with my band's Matrix. So
right.
And Keith Scott had produced those. And so I met Mike when he was the janitor at Little Mountain, basically. He was janitoring, sleeping on the couch, and doing assistant engineering.
That sounds like Chris Christopherson's
yeah, it's
story.
like that. So everybody starts that way. It's anybody else out there, it's like, you know what, all the young guys out there, it's all about just working hard and finding where you fit in, and then you got to move forward. Like this thing, Don, you have to move forward. A lot of guys stay in this town. You got to take a chance, and you got to move to a place like Vancouver. And then you got to jump to a place like Los Angeles. You have to open your opportunities up. I just believe that you go stale in one place because you need the right people in the industry to see you.
Yeah,
even though you are talented.
And what was it like to work with AC/DC? Because I've always heard great stories that these guys are so professional, very businesslike. All the drunken debauchery from other bands, that wasn't the case with those guys.
No, they were really, and by that time they had replaced their drummer, and so a new drummer came in from Manfred Mann, and he was great. Was
that Chris Slade?
It was Chris Slade.
Chris Slade, yeah.
He knows his stuff. Yeah, Chris Slade came in, and I'm not going to name names who came out because that's just unfair. But they had problems with drugs and stuff, and there was arguments going on, and Malcolm was the leader of that band, and he's quiet and great, but they made a decision to go a different route, and it worked great for them for a while. So as people, they were really hardworking. Like those guys bust their butt and worked really hard, and they played hard too. Like there was nights when there used to be a nightclub called the Metro and Outlaws in Vancouver, and so we after the gigs or after all the recording sessions, everybody would go down there, and they were playing with all the local bands.
Cool. Yeah,
it was really cool. It wouldn't be unusual for one of them to jump up and play with the local band and just become part of the community because they were there. They were there for 8 months at a time. When
you mentioned community, and when producer Bruce Fairbairn passed away, one of the guys was it both Malcolm and Angus that showed up for the funeral in Vancouver, and Bon Jovi and
everybody
Aerosmith.
did.
Yeah,
and because Fairbairn was such a mentor. If you ever met him, he was a quiet soul, but he was so pro, and a lot of these guys, they were running rampant, and Bruce was able to bring them in and really get them in focused. He would take them into York Theatre. Nobody knows it, but he would take them into York Theatre a month before any kind of record was made, and he would go through all the songs, and everything was in place, so they couldn't run wild in the studio.
Yeah.
They were focused.
Unbelievable. When it comes to your career, you've been down in LA a gazillion times. Who's some of the other bands you worked with? Was it with Tom Petty?
I worked with Tom Petty. I used to work with the Knack all the time. I filled in for the Knack on a Southern California tour.
Really?
One of the guys got sick, the bass player, so I went in and I toured and did a lot of Southern California. So I did My Sharona, and I did, Good Girls Don't and all. It was a lot of fun to do that. And they were killer guys. Really enjoyed my time. I knew Howie from Tom Petty really well. I want to tell this story because it's a good story. Howie and I used to fill in, and Del Shannon used to play in a place in the Valley, the Holiday Inn.
Oh, yeah. Tom was a big fan.
Yeah, and Tom was, but he was just like an old guy that was kind of winding down his career, making a few extra bucks. He had some gambling debts and he lost it. So we were all playing. Ferdell would grab a bunch of bass players. I knew Howie off the street because when I got to LA, I went to BIT, which is a music school. And Howie, I met through a friend of mine. He said, got to meet my friend Howie. He's the coolest guy. He was not in Tom Petty at that time. He was just a guy. So we all filled in, and we would sub, me and you subbing.
Yeah.
Hey, Don, I can't do this. We
Right.
can do it somewhere else. So I would sub a lot for Howie in different bar bands and things around California. That particular day, I didn't get that job. Howie was gigging, and what happened was Tom Petty was about to go on a massive tour, a worldwide tour. It's just after down to Torpedoes, and the bass player decided he's had enough. They had a big outing and he had enough, so he quit right in the middle of it while they were at SIR, which was a big rehearsal studio where you go in and they set the whole thing up.
Yeah.
He needed a bass player. He went to the Valley. Del Shannon's playing. Howie's playing bass. Said to Howie, listen, you could take one of my kids. Well, I wasn't there to be one of the kids. Howie got that. So Howie went over to Tom's the next day and rehearsed it, and Tom said, yeah, I got no time. He'll be fine, even if we decide to hold him for 6 months and then come back and get our permanent bass player is fine. So anyway, he got the gig, and Howie and I were best friends. So and I'm so sad that I don't know how he got into the drug thing and went from there, but I miss him, really bad. He was a good friend of mine.
And one other band that I know you've worked with is Anita Bowie with Syl Thompson, and because you were here a few years back. So, Syl, could you bring the show back to the Chilliwack Cultural Center? This has all been set up for
I'm
this.
wearing the shirt, by the way.
You're wearing? You got it?
Because I wore it, Don, just for you.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Sorry, son, I'm getting it.
Welcome to live television. Yeah. There you go.
There it is. So
Robb,
we love you.
Robb, as always, thank you.
Don, you're the best. People got to watch Don.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You're watching This Week.
Hey Chilliwack, here are your sports. Starting in hockey, Chiefs fans get out and vote. Chiefs captain Mateo Mercic has been named the BCHL All-Star and will compete at the Mid-Season Classic, January in Salmon Arm. The Chiefs need your help to send Chiefs forward Brady Milburn to the game as well, via the BCHL fan vote. You can do this through the Chilliwack Chiefs website. The Chiefs also made some personnel announcements with the signing of Carter Anderson, a 20-year-old forward out of Winnipeg, and Michigan-born goaltender Kevin Jones, and Maple Ridge's Brandon Osborne as a defender. And Dakota McIntosh will be hitting the books as he will be leaving the team to play for the NCAA Division I University of Alaska Anchorage. The Chiefs hit the Coliseum ice next on December 6th at 7 p.m. against Langley and 8 p.m. the following night against Coquitlam. Chiefs are first in their conference with a 16-5 record. They finished November with a 7-2 record and will look to keep that momentum through the holiday month. The Jets are still flying high and mildly allergic to losing. A 26-3 record puts them first in their league. They are away on December 6th to play Ridge Meadows, but are back home on December 8th to host North Vancouver at 5:30 p.m. at Sardis Sports Complex. The UFV women's basketball team bounced back to beat the Heat 63-40 last Saturday afternoon in Kelowna for their final game of 2024. The Cascades moved to 6-3, while the Heat are now 3-6. The UFV men's basketball team shot 44% from 3 to defeat the Heat 92-75 Saturday afternoon in Kelowna for their last game of 2024 as well. Dario Lopez claimed close to his career high with 33 points and 9 rebounds for the Cascades. The Cascades basketball teams return in the new year for a pair of home games January 10th at 6 p.m. for the women's team and 8 p.m. for the men's versus the UNBC Timberwolves, and January 11th at 3 and 5 p.m. versus the TRU Wolfpack. 64 of the top boys and girls basketball teams from across the province are set to compete at Langley Events Center over 8 days as part of the 2024 Samura Basketball Invitational. The boys team play from December 4th to 7th, while the girls take the court from December 11th to 14th. The girls' Super 16 includes GW Graham and Unity Christian of Chilliwack. All games are live streamed if you Google Langley Events Center. And the 2024-25 World Cup ski cross season starts next week. Cultus Lake's Reese Howden is once again on the national team. Since competing in the International Ski and Snowboard Federation, or FIS for short, Howden has found himself atop the podium 21 times, with 11 of those being on the top step. That is your Chill TV Sports. Coming up, Cari with the weather.
Chill TV weekend weather. So, Cari, is the sun going to actually peek through this weekend?
Thanks, Don. Yes, this week was a beautiful, sunny week. You can thank me. I called for rain, and it was sunny. This weekend, though, we are back to rain again, so 60 to 70% chance and a lot of rain. Hopefully, if you haven't got your Christmas tree yet, you're planning on to go to the barn, get one in from there. Monday, though, it's going to be nice and sunny again, so you might want to wait for the Christmas tree hunting. Tuesday to Thursday next week, a lot of rain again. We're back to rain, and all this rain means a lot of snow in the mountain passes, so make sure if you are traveling, you have snow tires, as it is the law. Here's a fun fact. Switzerland eats the most chocolate per capita, 22 pounds per year for the average person. If I ate 22 pounds of chocolate, I'd probably weigh 100 pounds more. Have a great week, and back to you, Don.
Thanks, Cari, and thank you for watching. If you have a local news story you'd like us to report on, you can always send us a note to news@chilltv.ca. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. I'm Don Lehn.